All right, whenever you're ready.
My dear friends and fellow citizens, my heart fills up with vaccination to be disabled to come out here before such an intelligence massage of people and have the chance to undress such a large, conglomerated aggravation. I do not come before you like other political speakers with false pride on the one hand and the star-strangled banana on the other. I come before you as a true, sterilized citizen, a man who is for the public and against the people. And I want to tell you, my esteemed friends, when I look back on the early hysterics of our country, I think how our forefathers strangled to make this country boss as it is. When you think of the lives that was loosed and the blood that was shredded, we've got to feel a feeling of patriotic symptoms. We've got to feel patriotic. You've got to feel the patriot. You can't help it. You've got to feel it. I tell you, our hearts must fill up with indigestion when we look upon the Statue of Liberty, the way she stands all alone, dressed up in nothing, with a light in her hand, showing her freedom. And what a fine place they've picked out for liberty to stand, with Coney Island on the one side and Blackwell's Island on the other. When she stands there now, looking at the way the country is, the way it is, and what she has to stand for, I tell you, tears and tears must be dropping from her eyes. And well, to prove it, look at the ocean that she has filled up. And no wonder she is crying. Read the nuisance papers. See what is going on. Look what the country owes. According to the last report of the Secretary of the Treasury, the United States owes $5 billion. Nobody knows what we owe it for, and nobody ever sees what we've got for it. And if you go to Washington, the capsule of the United States, they don't even know themselves. Then they say, what keeps the country broke is the Pay No More Canal. It costs the government $9,000 an hour to dig the canal. Think of that. $9,000 an hour for digging, and the worst of it is, they ain't digging. Up to date, it has cost $170 million to dig a hole. They've been at it for 9 years, and the only hole that they have dug is in the United States Treasury. Before they started the canal, it didn't cost us nothing, and we had 2 oceans. And by the time they get through, it'll have cost us $300 million, and we'll only have 1. The whole trouble is the trust. Look what the cold storage trusts have done with the eggs. 60 cents a dozen for the good ones, and the good ones are rotten. They say that the prices are going up because the wages are getting higher. But why should they raise the price of eggs? The chickens aren't getting any more wages. And if meat goes up any higher, it will be worth more than money. Then there won't be any money. Instead of carrying money in your pocket, you'll carry meat around. A sirloin steak will be worth a $1,000 bill. When you go down to the bank to make a deposit, instead of giving the cashier a $1,000 bill, you'll hand him a sirloin steak. If you ask for change, he'll give you a chunk of bologna. If they keep on, we won't be able to live at all. Statistics prove that the average wages of the working man is $1 a day. Out of that, he's going to spend 50 cents a day for food, 55 cents for rent, 10 cents for and 10 cents for car fare. At the end of a hard day's work, he owes himself 15 cents. Yet the rich people say that the poor people are getting prosperous. They say, look at our streets. You see nothing but automobiles. You don't see half the poor people now that you did before. Certainly you don't. Half of them have already been run over, and the other half is afraid to come out. And if only why, between the automobiles and the trust, a poor man hasn't got a chance to live. And if only the gas trusts get a little stronger, the price of gas will go up so high, a poor man won't even be able to commit suicide. They'll have him both ways. He can't live, and he can't die. And that is why I am with the socialists. They say, down with the money. Do away with money. Make everything equal. Imagine a fellow going into a jewelry store and saying, give me a diamond ring. Here's a lemon. But the socialists have got some good ideas for the working people. And my heart and my soul is with the working class of people. But what help are labor unions to the working man? Look at it in the right light. A man pays $25 to join a union. He gets a job working in a store for $2 a day, works for 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, the labor goes on strike and he owes himself $1. The unions are crying that the days are too long. They want the days shorter. They say that the day should be 8 hours long. But think of the fellows out in the North Pole, where the days are 6 months long. That's the place for the poor man to live. When the landlord comes around and says rent, all you have to do is tell him to come around the day after tomorrow. Look at our public school system. A child can go to school for nothing, and when he grows up to be a man and is thoroughly educated, he can go into the public school and be a teacher and get $50 a month. And the janitor gets $95. This shows you how education is coming to the front. Wouldn't it be better, instead of sending a child to school, to learn him to clean out a cellar? And what's the cause of all the trouble? The House of Representatives. We send them to Washington to look out for the people, and the only times as they look out for the people is when they look out the window and see them coming. Then they get $7,500 a year, they spend $10,000 a year, and at the end of the year they have $100,000 saved up. No wonder they are careless with our money. And the cause of all the trouble in this country is the crooked politics. And that's why the women suffragettes have gotten together and are fighting for their rights. And you can't blame them. Now, I see where one woman has hit on a great idea. She says there's only one protection for the wives, and that's a wives' union. Imagine a union for wives. A couple gets married, and as soon as they get settled, along comes the walking delegate and orders a strike. Then, imagine thousands and thousands of women, of wives, walking up and down the streets on strike, and scabs taking their places. Thank you.